option the day she was born. Giving the girl a decent chance at a good life was probably the only virtuous thing he'd ever done. Cole shook his head. "I can't believe you're a dad." "Barely. He only made a few appearances a year." "Tell me more." "Even clipped, it could take all day." "Sure, later." "How old is she?" Alex's blushing cheeks were buried behind his shaggy beard. 11. Cole choked. "Aren't you only 25? "Yeah, like I said, long story." Alex grabbed his coat from a hook, hurried outside before his friend could ask any more unwanted questions, and tripped over a homeless man, staining the outside stoop. "Got any cash?" The old man was caked in dirt and what was probably dried blood. He had at least 4 missing teeth. Alex opened his mouth, paused, then dug into his pocket and handed the man a 10. He snatched the bill, his face turning bright. "Thanks." "No problem." Alex jogged over to his beat-up, ancient gold Tercel and raced home to his tiny one-bedroom apartment and the stench of something rotten. He sniffed, not quite placing the smell. Maybe he'd forgotten to take the trash out again. It didn't matter. He needed to clean up and pull something together for Ariana's party. He stepped into the living room and tripped over his coil nailer. "That's where my nail gun went," he muttered. He'd been looking for that when installing the roof at his job site. Alex peeled off his work clothes and left them in a pile on the floor. Then he jumped in the shower and quickly trimmed his beard. Zoe would probably still criticize it, but he didn't care. He wasn't there to impress her. This was all about Ariana and the fact that she'd be crushed if he didn't show. She was the one person who actually held him in high regard, for however long that would last. Eventually, she too would see what a screw-up he really was. With a towel around his waist, he dug through his closet, looking for something that would work as a costume. Finally, he settled on tattered black jeans, those were easy enough to come by, along with a white shirt and a red bandana to wrap around his head. Now he was a pirate. Sort of. He found a vest and pulled on some brown work boots. That would have to do. He checked the time. With traffic, he'd be a little late, but at least he'd be there. As he got back into his beater, his phone buzzed with a new text. It was from Zoe. "You're coming, right?" Alex groaned. Thanks for the vote of confidence. He could always count on his ex-girlfriend to boost his morale. Wouldn't miss it. Good. Alex held back an eye roll and didn't respond to her last text. He started the car and braced himself for the traffic. It was usually an hour drive, but it might take 2, and he would definitely be late. Maybe he could slip in unnoticed. Ariana's parties seemed to get bigger each year. He coasted along the I-5 corridor at 20 miles an hour heading south toward Seattle, though he'd have to drive farther. His mind wandered to everyone he would see at the party. Zoe, of course. Her parents were raising his and Zoe's daughter as their own, though Ariana knew and understood they were actually her grandparents. His parents would be there. They still lived next door to Zoe's parents. Ariana had always visited them regularly, and they were always first choice as babysitters. Alex's heart constricted. Part of him wished he could be more of a part in her life, but it was better this way. He really had nothing to offer to her. He just worked, went to the bar, and slept. Rinse and repeat every single day, except Sundays, when he slept all morning and watched sports in the afternoon. He turned up the music and sang along with the song so he wouldn't have to think. Finally, he pulled into the neighborhood he grew up in. His old street was filled with cars, and nearly every house had spooky decorations. Alex pulled into his parents' driveway and stared at the tri-level he'd grown up in. His stomach twisted into tight knots. Party. Alex got out of the car and looked next door at Zoe's parents' house. It was the most decorated home in the neighborhood. He could hear festive music playing from speakers in a tree. Clementine, his parents' orange tabby, walked up to him and rubbed against him. Alex kneeled and ran his hand along the cat's back and relaxed somewhat. He rose and cut through his yard to the house that had been